series is what I want to talk about. It's important, and it's important to so many Sydney siders. You grew up knowing about Heffron Park.
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up in an era with guys like Chris Sutton and a lot of other sort of top tier athletes, and seeing a lot of the juniors now sort of coming through, like seeing the likes of Caleb Ewan and those types of riders sort of come to Heffron Park and race, and now seeing that sort of with like Luca Zucchiatti and a lot of the juniors sort of doing it now. It's definitely making a inroads in terms of that sort of development for young riders, because at the end of the day, I know like John harps on it a lot about getting out and racing your bike, because it makes the most of learning those skills, because you can't learn those types of skills going out for a couple hour bike ride with your mates type thing. You only learn those positioning type skills for a bunch sprint, or using your energy at the right time in certain parts of the races at races like this. So it's fundamental, I think, for junior development to have these types of races continue year in, year out. And for a race like Heffron Park to be going for 40 years is truly incredible, when other well-known races have come and gone over the years. To still be standing after 40 years is an incredible effort, and I hope it continues on for another 40 years and I'm still kicking around and hopefully getting beaten by more and more kids that I'm afraid are 2/3 my age.
Okay, and welcome to the series finale, season 40, Heffron 2025. It is an absolute pleasure to be with you tonight for this podcast. And joining us, as always, is Mr. Season 40, John Sunday. Good evening, John.
Damn well feels like 42, Alexi. Thanks.
Thank you for joining us. And, of course, we've got Mr. Vaughan McVilly, who's been a new addition to the squad this season. Obviously, Paul hasn't been able to join us every week for some personal commitments, but Vaughan has more than willingly stepped up, does his thing. He loves the cycling. He's down there often before the race starts, vacuuming away or using a blower. And so, Vaughan, it's been a pleasure to have you this season, and welcome for our season finale.
Thank you so much, and it's absolutely been a pleasure to be a part of it all. I've absolutely loved it. It's been my highlight of every week. I have no idea what I'm going to do next week.
John, what are you going to do now? What are you going to do on a Tuesday night now? I mean, people forget, you obviously do the Tuesday night, then you do the results on Wednesday morning and give a breakdown of every single finisher, do the finishing line for Thursday. You turn around and do the podcast. You get a breather on Friday, but then you start looking at the entries, start looking at the weather of Saturday, Sunday. Monday's doing all the entries. Tuesday, you turn up, do the race. You've got a lot of spare time now.
I certainly have, Alexi. You've absolutely nailed it as well. It's not just a Tuesday thing. It's actually a full-on 7 days, because once we usually record on a Thursday afternoon, you then straight away what's the weather looking like next Tuesday? How are the entries going to go? You look on Saturday. Oh, my God, where is everyone? Are they all gone away? Why haven't they entered? And start doing some frantic social media posts, email everybody, come on, entries closed. And, of course, that words like that don't mean anything to Edwin, because nothing closes to Edwin.
I think it's a great way to start, because everyone thinks about all the races, but as I kind of alluded to, Vaughan's down there he often heads down about 2-3 o'clock for a bit of a pre-race trek. And then we've got all the volunteers who I will pass to John, because you will get the names better than I do, but who turn up every Tuesday night, pretty much from about 3-4 o'clock onwards, and start preparing the track, but also then hang around in the dark once the race is finished to pull down all the signage, pull down the flags, pack it all away until the next season. So rather than just always talk about the riders, John, the St. John's ambulances as well, who is there for this week in, week out?
That's a great starting point, Alexi. You'll see a lovely photo, which you have most probably already posted on the screen, of the whole crew. So big shout out to Doug and Stu from the club, along with Luke, Greg Rule. I hope I don't miss anyone, because I'm not looking at the photo at the moment. Gwen, who thanked Gwen personally on Tuesday night and told her that she was an absolute superstar. And here's a woman who doesn't race, she rides, member of the club, but she comes down every Tuesday night, manages the numbers, manages the prize envelopes, and that's not an insignificant job. And the most important thing she does, she manages the lap board. So one week Gwen's away, and we seriously were in a panic, ringing her in Melbourne. How does the lap board work, Gwen? We don't know. Of course, all we had to do was plug it in and turn it on. But yeah, shout out to everybody in the club. And it's a great team effort. The St. John's crew, the commentating crew, and also want to make a special mention to the photographers. This year, we consistently had between 3 and 4. Our resident photographer, Richard Scriven, backed up quite frequently this season by Parag Hogan, Stu Baker, and a new addition, Greg McCarthy from the Shire. Rides his e-bike in with his little trolley backpack with all his camera gear in. And not to mention our drone footage, courtesy of our pilot, Matt Galinsky.
Yes. So I think, look, I will probably miss him, perhaps, but I just had a look. There is a Tuesday Night Heffron kind of racing group. So we've got Angus Calder, obviously, was joining on the microphone. You've got Anthony Atchison, who goes down as a help set up every week.
Yep, absolutely.
Cole Imunger's still there, floating around doing his thing. Douglas, whoever Douglas may be, Greg Rule, Gwyneth, who we've mentioned, Lizzie Smith, Luke Cruikshank, Rich Scriven, of course, and then we've got Robin Sprouster, one of our commissaires, Roy Grunpeter, and Stuart McDougall.
Yeah, that's more or less the whole crew. And also, quick shout out to Rick Jordan, who stepped in for Robin on Tuesday night. So Rick and Robin shared commissaire duties during the season. I think even Stu Wills chipped in one night. It all worked, and it hums like a machine, and everyone's got it down pat, and it does. It works very smoothly. So special mention to everybody. And I was really touched just after racing had finished on Tuesday night, the way the riders all came up and thanked the support crew.
Yeah, that's right. Because when you look at it there, we've just rattled off, and of course, Mr. Paul Kraft as well on the microphone, but that's 18 people we've just rattled off. So, you're paying your $25 entry and going, oh, what am I getting for it? Well, it's 18 people's time every Tuesday night who do a wonderful job. And that has allowed the season to go for the 40 grand seasons. And so, Vaughan, what was your takeaway on Tuesday night? How did you see, perhaps you can tell us, how did the racing unfold?
Look, I was going to be a little bit biased because we obviously got up for a massive win, the Hydraplay team. And I can tell you we partied on into the evening after big Ashley Bennett Freeman rocketed home. But we had a massive plan. We added a few more to our team. We had Mark Rowling, although not in kit. He came up to me for the previous week and said, "You guys are so much fun. Can we join the team?" So he jumped in. Nico loved the love machine. He's been coming and hanging out with us post race. So he said, "Can I come and race with you?" I said, "Absolutely." And then of course we had the big Latvian George back from injury, and so we had like 9 riders on the start list. And so we had a plan to make it as hard and fast as we possibly could to try and stay away from A grade and try and give the first B grade win of the season.
This year, didn't we have one before Christmas? I think
before Christmas we had one, but not in the point score. So and so it was on, and like they averaged 45.9 kilometres an hour for B grade, which when you consider that it was 46.8 was the A grade, was their average speed for the night. It was on all night. So it was a super great race. We also had Dan Forsyth pulling massive turns. There was a lot of power in that B grade group, and so they were absolutely rocketing. And then
just quickly on Dan. So he left for his round the world trip on Wednesday morning. Messaged me on Tuesday. Oh, I think I can make it if I get everything packed in time. And I'm thinking, mate, you're about to go for a round the world trip, and the night before you want to come and race Tuesday Night Heffron? So he was very keen, and it was good to see him there.
And what was amazing about the speed of B grade was I thought the C grade group was one of their fastest nights of the year. And in those early stages, I was like, I actually think C grade's going to get up tonight. Like they sit on, they're above that little 40K marker I always like to do. 6-7 laps to go, you look back at it, there's B grade. They're right behind us. And I just thought, that's impossible. Like I didn't believe B grade were already so close after so few laps because it felt like C grade were going as quick as they could. So full credit to that massive crowd.
That's most probably because there wasn't much wind on Tuesday. And it was like the perfect storm, wasn't it? No wind. And I think the real key to B grade momentum was the sheer size of the bunch, over 35 riders. And that creates speed and momentum. And I remember standing over by the toilet block, monitoring that pathway over there for a few laps. And I couldn't distinguish the speed that between the B grade bunch coming past me and the A grade. To me, they were almost identical.
Yeah. And so for those that weren't there, it was 21 riders in A grade with 21 finishes, but a huge 37 riders started in B grade and 33 finished, I believe. C grade, a slightly smaller field, and obviously that worked against them. Only 21 starters and only 9 made it to the finishing line. So, obviously played out with the early catch is never good for C grade.
Absolutely. You also had a couple of those C graders jumping up into B grade, which I thought was awesome. So obviously our C grade champion, Luca Cromer, he said, I've got this in the bag. I'm going to jump up to B grade and probably prove that he ain't going back down to C grade.
Yeah, he's certainly not going. Good finish overall.
Really good.
The B grade bunch. And,
looking at there, he's
Matt O'Connor stepped up and raced. You won't be going back either, Matt. You'll be staying there.
Mate, we gave him a job, him and Mark Rowling, and we just said, big Pommy Rob, we said first 6 laps, as hard as you can go, as deep as you can go into the bike race. But both those boys finished, which is pretty amazing. It was pretty, Riyadh was doing massive turns. It was just so fast for the entire bike race.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now going to ask a ridiculous question. Hydraplay.
Yeah.
Where is? I've never actually seen it for sale anywhere. What is? It's a hydration, right? So where do you get it?
To be honest, this
isn't a Dorothy Dixer either. This isn't a paid sponsorship post. I actually was just like, I've never actually seen Hydraplay for sale. It's kind of
it's not at the Sutherland 7-Eleven. I can tell you
that's right.
Well, to be honest, and this is hilarious that you've asked this question, mate, because the very first time that we have seen product in 3 years was on Tuesday night. So all the boys got to try the product for the very, very first time. So it's from deep southern Tasmania down in Geeveston, and it's made with pure mist water, which is the highest concentration of magnesium in any water in the world, and it just won a gold medal for the tastiest water. I don't know how water becomes tasty. Yeah. But then it's all natural Tasmanian products. So there's no additives. So it's beetroot juice and Tasmanian apples and Tasmanian honey. So
Tasmanian minerals?
Tasmanian
got minerals.
It's got so many minerals, John. There's a bottle there for it, like mineral rich.
So is it like a? I mean, this is going to sound, but is it like a Powerade, or is it like a powder, or they do like gels, or what's the?
It's actually it's a good question, mate. It's actually in a 250 ml pouch that is foil sealed because it can't get any light to it because it's all natural product. If it has any light to it, it would go off really quickly. And to be honest, that's why it's taken so long for the guys down at Pure Mist to get the product to the market, because there's been so much development in the product to make sure that it's got some sort of.
I'm expecting our viewership from Tasmania.
There you go. Well, that's right. And now that we're back from that ad break. So Tuesday night.
That's a longer ad break than On the Move.
But what I liked, it was just, everyone was having a dig, and I want to give a special shout out in C grade to Brent McFarlane. I've got no idea if he listens or not, but he was a guy that has had a long time off racing apparently. But he was back after 20, 25 years, I believe, of racing. Turned up the first couple of weeks and was getting shelled, after a lap, maybe 2. Slowly made it. 1 week, I asked, how'd you go? Hung on till a couple of laps ago. Then he finished. Then he I actually managed to do a turn this week. And then this Tuesday night, there he was at the front doing a turn, having a good dig. And I thought, there you go. There is a man who's just turned up every week and has witnessed the fruition of his work, of the hard work, getting the results and the wonders of a season 40.
That's a good shout out. And Brent's got some racing DNA in his legs from many years ago. I can tell you, he used to be a force to be reckoned with in A grade. But it just goes to show, when you have a break, like for 20 years, it does take quite some time to find that higher level of intensity when you come back into racing. But he found it and he proved it. And so, kudos, Brent.
But I suppose Tuesday night, it was almost a night of 2 races. So B and C have rolled out. C I thought were flying along, got gobbled up with 6 to go, and then B just controlled it and held it. And by the end of it, it was daylight back to A grade. I think when we spoke to Scotty Law after the race, a few of the A graders were happy that
yeah, they were. I heard
B
that
and C
too.
go and have their glory. Kind of made it a nicer race for A grade as well. They were there racing, but those last couple of laps, and look, I know throughout this podcast we'll have a number of the drone footage because it's so great. Not only having the onboard rider cameras, we've got Grant Holbert was kind enough to tag us. We had, was it Neo?
Neo, yeah, Neo. Hey, good ride too by Neo. For a guy that's really not built
Neo
for
Zong there from
Heffron.
East, yep.
Yeah. He his footage was good.
Yeah, and
speaking of riders that aren't built for Heffron, Phil Taaffe. I mean, take a bow, Phil.
Oof.
Damn.
So talk about ruining how the race rolled out there. So, but we had the drone footage. It all came together. The massive leader who went. There was a rider who then decided, right, I'm going to go early. All purple kit. Was that Josh Dunsford, I think?
Yeah, it was Josh.
Josh Dunsford, yeah.
And he looked over his shoulder as he hit the hairpin, and he had a very good break.
Very good gap.
But if you look at the and if you play it, if you look at the drone footage, he has a little look over his shoulder to see how far he's got. Looks back up and he's suddenly on the grass. So he actually went out the top.
Yeah, overshot it, didn't he? Yeah,
he overshot it onto the grass, which would have washed off a lot of speed. I still think Ash would have got him, but it was pretty epic.
But yeah, Ashley, Ben.
Yeah, sorry.
You roll us through what you thought was happening on the last lap.
We talked about it at the start that Centennial have been really good with Benny G and Heidi. Basically doing a bit of work at the start and then hiding at the back, and then they come to the front really beautifully and work it. And so we had a plan with 3 laps to go to start lifting the pace, and then with 1 lap to go, some great photos. You'll see big Ian Morrison, the pilot, come rocketing down the
He does, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. He calls out to Ash to get on his wheel. Robbie then comes across. There's some great footage from Neo, whoever that is, of then Robbie getting in front of Ash. And it was all about as fast as we can possibly go on the last lap to make it hard for Centennial to move up to the front, right? Because the faster you go.
And also the surprise move from behind.
Yes, exactly, right? So that was the plan, and that's what we tried to execute. But I'm not going to lie. We got to, obviously... Ian popped all his marbles by halfway through the squircle. Robbie was chewing bar tape and nearly vomiting by coming down the second.
He said that, didn't he? Yeah.
Oh, he was like pedaling in squares. And then, of course, we had Nico Love. So he popped through and he tried to do a little move. And that's when Josh absolutely launched down into the netball courts. And then Big Ash. I've got this data because it is pretty exceptional. So he was leading it into the hairpin. From the top of the hairpin to the finish line, he averaged 809 watts. He's 87.
That's Saturday numbers.
They are big numbers. So it was 9.2 watts per kilo from the exit of the hairpin.
Yeah, hairpin. And that is hard there. It's a long, because it kind of breaks up into 3 or 4 different patterns, doesn't it? You've got the first little bit to hit the corner, then you hit the corner and you enter the straight and you've got to sort of build your speed. And then you hit that middle part where you hit the wall and you've got to readjust. What do I do? Do I stay in the saddle? Do I get out of the saddle? And then there's the last part where you've just got to go as hard as you can to the finish line. But he held it, and it was good to see his girlfriend down there, partner, watching. She was on the sideline. If you watch the finish line video, she sees him cross the line, and she was yelling out, "Yeah, go Ash, go Ash!" And she gets very excited after he won. So that was great to see. But it just goes to reinforce that Tuesday Night Heffron is very much a family night.
And
absolutely.
Just to create a bit of coffee shop drama, who's the quickest sprinter, Robbie Allen, or is Ashley Bennett Freeman the fastest of the two? If you put him in a drag fresh.
Well, interestingly enough, probably the fastest of all of our players is the big Latvian George, but he's obviously just coming back from his broken pelvis and then his broken wrist. The boys had a little sprint on Sunday, and Ashley Smashley, as we call him, absolutely ripped everyone's legs off.
I can believe it. Ash's got a lot of power.
Yeah, and that's what I was like, all right, lads, let's do it. And so on the WhatsApp, it was like, we're riding for Ash this week. And that's what happened.
So he was super quick. So there, but I'd actually like to call out the whole of it. Actually, I'm going to go all the way to 11. Grant Holbert was second, Dulwich Hill. fantastic ride. Phil Taaffe,
great
like we
ride.
said, the little whippet, third, followed by Scott Carver, making a very strong return. Tom Hyde, then Michael Bolt, surprisingly at 6.
Yeah.
That's got to be his
Hey,
best.
just quickly on Bolterini, if you looked at the honour roll of all the Tuesday nights, Bolterini last featured in, I'm just going to find it right now, I think it was about 10 or 12 years ago.
Yeah, I think he won a B grade, maybe.
He won
10,
a
12.
B grade season, and it was like 2013 or 12 or 11. So it just goes to show, Bolterini, you haven't lost much,
He
buddy.
hasn't lost it. 7th, Benny Glastonbury. 8th, Riyadh. I mean, he had a really strong kick, which you'll see in the videos. He rode very well. And then Hugo Coquard was 9th, followed by the champion of C grade, Luke Cromer. And then Ben Dewhurst, he's been out a lot of this season with, I think, calf problems or something like that.
No, he's a rowing coach, and he's had coaching commitments as well.
And then, well, let's go. Noah won. And again, I was surprised, actually. I'm surprised he didn't top 10 because a lot of the videos, he looked like he was. There was that whole little bunch there. And then Nego Zong, whose feature I'm sure will pop up, was there in lucky 13th. So impressive. Quickly then, though, A grades had their own race, and
I tell you what was great. I reckon 2 laps to go. Was it when the Rock Ryan O'Keefe put a whole heap of rocks in his steam engine, and he flew off the front with Will Clark.
Yeah, him and Will. We were talking about that. We were talking about that this morning. He just wanted to stay out of trouble and get up the road. The road he did.
Oh, I was like going, if you don't let those two massive diesel engines get too far
big
away.
Engines. Because Will almost pulled it off the week before overall.
Yeah. Yeah, so with one extra engine in the locomotive machine, I thought those two were going to actually storm away.
And I was just speaking of that, at the Bell, I was surprised just how far Scotty Law was back. He was like 10 or 12 back, because we all know about the overall series leader, which Scott had wrapped up. But technically, he hadn't wrapped up the A-grade award because he was a point behind Kurt. As we know, Kurt wasn't there. He was on track duty. So Scotty had to get at least 1 point, 3, 2, or 1, first, second, or third, to pick up to technically win the A-grade. And he did. And he did it handsomely in the finish, didn't he?
Oh, well, that was an amazing ride. I was going to say, like, coming across the line, I was like, well, Scotty's not in it. I honestly... He's not in it. But yeah, what a finish. Tom Bolton obviously came at him with a truckload of speed, but it was too late. And Jack Bennett getting a third, which was
Jack, missed you all season. The season hasn't been the same without you, but good to have you back.
And Millsy was back from his little kind of unfortunate lay down in fourth, and then Gwen. Fifth.
Yeah.
Big
no more Gwyn watch. He's not down the back of the bunch anymore. He's right at the front. And just quietly on Gwyn, good ride on Sunday. I think it was at West Head on the podium up there. Good to see Adrian Pellegrini back from up from the Illawarra, finish off the last race of the season. But yeah, good shout out to all the A-graders putting on a good race and having a high speed consistent race, which saw all of them finish.
Yeah, I don't think they could have gone much quicker than that. I mean, was it 46, 47 k an hour or something? I think the average. Yeah. That was brutal. But look at some of those good results.
It was just the no wind. Once you lack that wind, it favours the front groups.
Do you think it favours the strong men? Because I'm looking at 11th was Dave Evans. He was he was in the middle of the field. Very strong finish for Dave.
There's lots of words I'd use to describe Dave Evans, but the word strong and man in the same sentence is not one of them.
Righty-o.
But having said that, for a guy that talking about the honour roll, I think Dave was on there for a C grade win, and that would have to be 20 years ago.
There you go. It's pretty
and
impressive.
Once again, staying on the family theme, good to have Dave and his son Josh both racing A grade and contributing and finishing, strongly each week. So shout out to the Evanses.
Just to echo what you said, John, is testament to the Tuesday Night Heffron is the Pelot grin. Because think about it, he started, I think his first race was C grade.
It was October in B grade.
And then now he's moved into A grade and
seventh.
Seventh.
Wow.
He does all right.
Connor Verbruggen as well. Did he start in B?
Connor was back. No, he was back. He's only raced a couple of times. So I think he's been away doing things. And, it was good to see him down there.
Top 10 for A grade. Finished 10th.
Yeah.
So,
but we've haven't talked about the biggest battle of the lot on Tuesday.
That's right.
Night.
And that's why I was kind of leaving it to its own separate forum. John.
Deserves
you ladies.
Oh, Nicole v. Nicole.
The two Nicoles.
Unbelievable.
But then you also had Lily Fasan. She bought the chopping knives from out of the kitchen.
Yep. And again,
the chef, Iron Chef.
C grade. She was driving it.
Yeah. But Nicole Wilson, we'll talk about a rider who was not going to be left dying. She was smashing it on Tuesday night. She was just constantly rolling up there. Anytime someone missed it, she knew that pace had to be high. She had to stay ahead of Nicole Oh.
Yeah,
she was absolutely digging deep. But you look at the results on Tuesday night. Nicole Wilson ended up second. C grade.
Second in C grade, and only was she 4 or 5 places? I think she was only 4 or 5 places behind Nicole. But congratulations not only to the 3 girls that raced on Tuesday night, and not only to the 2 Nicoles who put on a great show on the last night, because we had the awards, which was a trophy of the rider. Thanks to Rich Scriven's photos, a mounted photo with a little sign, women's winner 2025, Nicole Wilson. So I had to have 2 stickers done, one for Nicole Wilson, one for Nicole Oh, and 2 photos, one of Nicole Oh and one of Nicole Wilson. But I couldn't put them in the frame until the end of the race.
Yeah. They both just
all the stuff that happens in the background at Tuesday night.
That's right. And so Greg McCarthy comes up to me and says, "How did you know which frame?" I said, I can't reveal all the secrets.
The magic behind a Tuesday night Heffron. But that's right. In the end, Nicole Oh finished on 12 points. Nicole Wilson on 11 points. So those two were clearly battling it out on those last couple of laps.
Well, it was the only division that hadn't been decided.
Yeah. And all the girls were amazing, right? Kira Will, Lucy Allen, Caitlin Rose, Lily Fasan, Emma Jeffcoat. We had heaps of girls.
Yeah, we had. And, just on the women's racing, look, I know it's a tough gig on a Tuesday night Heffron, and it's not suited to, especially suited to women. You've got to be pretty keen to come down and race. It was so good to see so many. What would be better, of course, in future if they could be more consistent. But I understand a few of them like Kira and Caitlin Rose had track commitments, and that sort of takes them away. But seeing them more frequently. And just quickly on commitment, one rider stood out in season 41, did not miss one race. Baz Doozy.
The Deuce.
Baz Doozy.
Yeah.
So Baz, I would say to everybody, be more like Baz. Do not miss a race. Just turn up every Tuesday night race.
Yeah, no, that's it. I mean, there was a week I forgot my shoes. I mean, that's how much lack of commitment I have.
But I don't know how you forget a pair of orange shoes.
Yeah, that's it. But that was Nicole Oh back to back. She was going there.
There's a photo of you if you can find it too. She didn't shirk turns, and at one stage of all of the riders to follow through, I think the most damaging person to follow through in B grade on Tuesday night was the Latvian George. Like, he was pulling half lap absolute monster turns, and there's I think 2 times where it was actually Nicole Oh who was sitting on the wheel and going full stank. It was pretty epic. And the other quick shout out I would do is Lucy Allen, because she is up at the Nationals at the moment and just got a silver medal in the scratch race. So, and I think down to...
Well, you know why she got the silver medal, don't you?
Tuesday Night Heffron.
Tuesday Night Heffron. I mean, there's so many stories about Tuesday Night Heffron and what it does for people's careers.
Yeah.
No question about it.
Well, women's racing in Ireland is now going to go up another level as well.
Oh, well, that's right. Actually, I was rather hoping to see Gab Fox on Tuesday night, but she, I don't know, maybe she was still up in Brisbane after the Q Tour.
She was. She actually asked me if it's on next week. I went, no, this is the last, because she gets back down. I think she got back into Sydney today. So I was like, sorry, you missed out.
Come down to Heffron next Tuesday. You can have a race all on your own, Gab.
Which, speaking of which, we should now move to one of our riders' favourite times of the week, and that is the infamous Char Grill Charlie's Rider of the Week. Now, I will throw a little spanner in the works for our viewers. This week, we're going to give a Rider of the Week and a Rider of the Season. So, not to confuse my lovely co-hosts, we'll start with Rider of the Week. So you only have to give me one person, one rider, and then we'll come back.
Just on Char Grill Chicken Char Grill Charlie's, I had the pleasure this morning of bumping into Ben from Char Grill Charlie's. I said, Ben, we need more vouchers.
He said, I gave you 5,000. And you're like, yeah, I know.
That's right. So as we were exiting Centennial Park, we had a quick sponsored discussion, and I can only say that Char Grill Chicken is stepped up their commitment for season 41. And we could have chicken buckets next year.
I want to give the bucket on the head. How good would that be?
Yeah, the crown, the Char Grill Charlie crown bucket.
But quick thank you to Ben and Mark Silverman, who run Char Grill Charlie's down in Coogee, and it was Mark's suggestion a couple of years ago to donate vouchers, and I think they've been well received and thoroughly enjoyed.
One of the most wanted prizes on the, you've basically got the Parra Bay cobble.
Yeah, we got the Heffron cobble too.
You got the sphere, the trident. I want to win one of those tridents there in one of the other races during the year. This classics, but then you've got the Char Grill Charlie's. So Vaughan, who is your rider of the week?
The entire Hydraplay team. No, I'm joking.
Yeah. Never ask him first.
I'm actually
just means we can overrule him.
I think that, with the early catch of B to C, it made C Grade's race extremely hard. And for the Ponsac to still be there at the finish and dicing it up and finishing 17th and first C grader, I'm actually going to put the Ponsac as my rider of the week.
Ooh.
Oh, you just want to go for a holiday in Thailand?
I do.
That's a good one.
You're not happy with that?
I'm going to go for Grant Holbert.
Good.
Second place, Grant.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's a guy, just goes about his business in his quiet, demeanor, strong as a horse, and consistent all the way through the season. And the results have just eluded him, in the finishes, but he nailed it. And if it wasn't for Ash getting the jump on him, I thought he was by far the next sort of strongest, best rider there overall. So my award goes to him for consistency and improvement over the year.
Okay, that's a good one, actually, because I liked, kind of speaking of that, I gave 3, 2, 1. I would have gone 1 point to Will Pereira from
Will, good finish.
Great finish. He was third, but also had just done a mountain of work. There's a real difference between when you're doing that mountain of work early to then when you get caught by B, you've got a bit of a breather, but then you've got to be able to kind of step it up again. And he was going at it from the gun. So I thought he rode super, super well. Similarly, I really like Nicole Wilson's ride in C. I thought she rode spectacularly. Again, mountain of work, still had something in it. Also, probably Lily Fasan had a few weeks off, and I thought rode very well. Phil Taaffe, again, another rider who you do not expect to see.
Not built for Heffron.
Not built for Heffron. In a pure sprint, a bunch of sprinters, he finished third.
That was impressive.
That was super impressive. But I'm actually going to go with you then, John. I'm going to give Grant Holbert. He's going to get the second because, again, solo rider. Didn't have 25 blokes working for him. So I think that is super impressive. Like the ability to position yourself to know which either Hydraplay or Central Park, Centennial Park rider you're meant to be behind, because who knows who they're favouring this week. Bang, comes up second.
Yeah,
and he's got it all.
You deserve it, Grant. You've had a good season. You started off pretty slow, but you got into the groove and you've improved as the season's gone on. It's just so good to see people that come to a Heffron sort of unheralded, never really done it before, and they then get the bug and they just love it so much, keep coming back, and you see them improve. So, hey.
Grant,
well
you
done,
are Grant Holbert, Dulwich Hill Racing, the Red Barons. You are our rider of the week.
Yeah, and with a bit of luck, there's a Char Grill Charlie's over in the inner west somewhere, or if there isn't, don't feel scared to come over to the east, mate. Come to the far side.
I also think he'll be happy that you said he started the season slow. He's going to geez, mate.
Well, no, not slow. He didn't come. He didn't. What I meant by that is he didn't come into the season with 5 years worth of Tuesday Night Heffron experience under his belt. So he found. He just read it and read it well.
Yeah. Hashtag your contract's in the mail.
So therefore, rider of the season.
Yeah.
Who is the rider who is just Pointscore series champion? 8 weeks. Who has been
the whole season? This is
so you're going the whole summer season. So you're going back
season 40.
Season
40 rider of the week.
Taaffe. I think you probably got a couple. You can probably throw a couple of names out there. So John, you don't like Vaughan going first, so therefore you have to go first.
Okay, I'll go first. Well, I had a bit of a think about this, went through all the results, but I've only really got one standout, and he wasn't there on Tuesday night, and his name's Luca Zucchiatti. He turns up all of 6'8" of 15 in his 15-year-old frame. The very first Tuesday, he goes in C grade. He sort of finds his feet, gets around, and what does he do? He places. Oh, okay. This kid's going all right. Next week, comes back, C grade again. He places. Okay, that wasn't a fluke last week. Next week, he places. Oh, definitely wasn't a fluke. Gets promoted to B grade. What happens? First race in B grade. Damn, he places. Second race. Oh, he places again in his second race. So he proved that the first week wasn't a fluke, and then went on to place in every single race I think he started in. Winner of the B grade series for season 40, and my rider of the season, Luca Zucchiatti.
Look, that I can only think of the 1 week he wasn't on the podium. That was where he got caught behind that crash. That is a pretty impressive season. I think the only person who's probably got a better strike rate would be Kurt Aoife, in the sense of when Kurt turns up, he wins.
Oh, yeah. Kurt is usually placing somewhere.
Yeah. It's a pretty good one.
Yeah, the standout for me, like I just said earlier, is that when you come to Heffron for your very first Tuesday night race, and you've never done it before, there's a lot of learning to do. But to come into it and learn from day one, adapt, accommodate, and get better week after week after week. That's quite an achievement.
I'll probably jump in before you, Vaughan, on that kind of talk about incremental improvements. That's probably for me the most impressive part of Luca's season, is the ability to kind of learn, but also continue to get better every week. So you kind of start in C and you kind of go, okay, maybe I'm just the strongest rider, with the quickest leg speed, or, I was able to save myself. But then he gets thrown into bigger bunches and doesn't find himself then hanging on for dear life or being bullied out and sitting at the back because it's too intense up the close of B grade. He continually moved up. Then when they've been caught by A, again, he's had the
still
strength,
chopping in
the knowledge, top the ability,
wheels.
The speed.
Yeah.
It is super
I
impressive.
think, that was evident 2 weeks ago in the drone footage, or the week before, when
toe-to-toe with
they got caught.
Yep.
And, he slotted in. And I was chatting to the King on Tuesday night, Spurge, and we were talking about Luca, and he was saying he's like a child in a man's body. I was never that big when I was that age.
Brilliant.
So
Ford?
that's my rider of the season.
Well, I'm exactly the same. Luca Zucchiatti for me was just the standout for everything that you guys have just said. He's also an absolutely lovely kid. He just got a silver medal up at the track nationals, so he's like, and that's just because Tuesday Night Heffron. Like his ride and how, and just, his, I guess, battles in B grade with my team. And I think I said it last week, like we absolutely love him. But like he just got better and better. And every week, my boys were saying how good he rides, how much better he's getting. And got a lovely family that always come down and cheer him
shout
on.
out to Martin and Sophia.
Yeah, beautiful people.
Yeah.
The Zook is, for me, I mean, Scotty Law, I mean, the level of calisthenics that he does pre-race is an honourable mention for rider of the season because,
Damn, I can't even do those things that he does.
yeah, like if he brought me some sort of food, that'd be like the dinner and show that would have got him across the line, I reckon. But yeah, no, Luca, what a legend.
Yeah,
Well
look,
done,
I think
Luca.
it is hard. I think, Scott Law, he's had a few years, away. He's, kind of entering what some would say the twilight years, and he's come and gone and won the series. I know when we spoke to him after the race, he did, he was surprised at how well it was only the last couple of weeks where he thought victory was within his grasp.
You've raced at a world level. You've raced representing Australia at the World Championships, the points race, etc. But this one, you had to really think about it. And at what point? How did you approach the season?
I guess it was sort of a bit of consistency. I personally I had a little bit of thought on what I sort of wanted to do in the race, but I didn't necessarily dedicate a whole bunch of training towards the event itself. It was more just utilizing my racecraft over the years and trying to make sure I was putting myself in the right place at the right time, still managing to do the work, because essentially for A grade, our race doesn't necessarily start until we've caught all the grades, and then you can start your race essentially. So when it sort of push came to shove, I just wanted to sort of do my turns, put in my work, and try and get to that sort of point where we were racing. And then once we were sort of there, hopefully have the legs to be able to go in the sprints. And essentially, after a few sort of races, I sort of saw that both Kurt and I were kind of there or thereabouts. I know like Kurt would always win, but essentially for me, it was kind of just trying to make sure that I was there or thereabouts with him, and hoping that he would go away and do some bigger and better races, which he has, and be able to snag a few points here and there as well. And it wasn't probably until maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago until I kind of realized that, like, hey, I could potentially win this overall. And so there were a few times where I probably raced ever so slightly negative in terms of trying to get some of the other grades to get up for points so they could take away from our points. But I never really stopped doing what I normally do, which is kind of just try and have a bit of race and have a bit of fun and get out there and see what sort of happens. And so that in turn kind of yielded some of the results that I end up getting.
Within his grasp. Obviously, special mention Kurt Ether. When he was here, he won. So, Oz Cycling really probably going to have to move around the track calendar to better accommodate.
Absolutely. I think they're already aware of that.
Yeah, so I hope discussions are being made on that front. Special shout out Luke Cromer as well in the C grade series winner. I know it was great to see the kind of club photo that went up afterwards. Him and his partner there getting a lovely photo, him holding the trophy. She knows how much it meant to him. She's probably disappointed to hear that the trophy was probably more important though, and will go higher up on his life's achievements, I think. Certainly would if I ever won a race. And then obviously Nicole Oh, as we've spoken about before, Nicole Wilson, fantastic to see them battling it out. But I think without a doubt, I think everyone's wrapped it up. Luca Zucchiatti, what a season, what a future. The sun, the shine, the sky shine, the sun shines bright.
Oh, it does. It does.
For the future of
Luca,
cycling.
you only have to look at riders who started their careers at Heffron. There was that guy called Cav. He started his career at Heffron, not dissimilar to you. He was in the GB track squad doing endurance track. just similar to what you're doing. So
Caleb Ewan,
hey, next,
he's still winning.
Caleb Ewan,
Ineos Grenadiers. He used that last bit of racing he did last time at Heffron. It's slowly built.
What does Caleb do 2 days ago? Wins his first race back with his new team Ineos after 6 months on the sideline. So, Luca, this is what you've got to look forward to: 35 stage wins in the Tour de France and winning stage races in Italy. That's just the start. I mean, there's been countless other riders.
Tuesday Night Heffron also will then be expected to be thanked at every time you win the green jersey. I just want to thank John and Tuesday Night Heffron.
So we've got Luca Zucchiatti, our rider of the season. I've already forgotten who the rider of the week was.
No, that was Grant Holbert.
That was Grant Holbert. Of course it was. And what a spectacular...
He's going to the Dulwich Hill.
What a special rider. What a special ride it was. It was a memorable ride by Grant to be rider of the week. So well done to both of those. Rider of the week, rider of the season. I suppose with that, we ring the bell on season 40.
Yes. And 2 photos that rate special mention. One of them is right behind me, and that's the best photo of the season. The season finale photo where everybody who's still at the track after the presentation lines up on the podium. And I still reckon that's the best photo of the year. That's it, done. So thanks, Rich, for taking the time to get us all together in one sit still for a minute. And then the other photo is the helpers, the setup crew photo, because without them, we couldn't do it. But on behalf, from my point of view, of everybody in the club and the riders, thank you to everybody for making what I thought was a truly memorable season. Very, very special.
It's funny when you do look back, you suddenly realise when you look at the great memories, Brad Mills's win in the Monument Race this season, the lovely photo you had with your family, John. That was probably another one of the special races. I was also saying beforehand, I don't think there were any rides this season where anyone just rode away and won solo. Shows the standard of Heffron now is just getting so high in every grade. No one said that earlier to do that. So so probably the Brad Mills win was probably the most epic.
Yeah, definitely. Certainly the most emotional.
Yeah.
Epic because of the conditions, epic because of the ride, and certainly emotional because of what it meant to Millsy and the fact that there was the incident after he crossed the line that just added to the folklore and history of Heffron, didn't it?
Absolutely.
John, what would you like to see happen in season 41? This is, off the cuff. I didn't give you a chance to prep you on this one.
For me to come back and win C-grade.
Look out. Comeback time is happening.
That's not going to happen. I'm under strict instructions what I'm allowed to do and what I can't do. More support, more regular support from the riders. And I say that in the context, we had 100 and, close to 300 riders raced during the season since last October. But we had 100 of them only raced once. Wow. Now, I get that some people do have other commitments on the Tuesday night.
It's a bucket list.
Yeah.
You travel the world, you do your bucket list.
Turn up.
Heffron Tuesday night.
But what makes it so special, without the core group of riders, and there's about 100 of them, I'd say, on and off, that have raced more than 10 times over the season. Guys like Baz Duzi, didn't even crack a place this year in C grade, but damn, he was on the start line every single week, and so that's why riders like him are what makes it so special.
Yeah,
Vaughan, you got any special plans besides maybe a comeback for yourself?
Well, to be honest, after doing a little ride down to Tassie and losing half of my pot belly, that's the other half still there. Everyone's saying you're going to get back on and race, and as much as I would like to do that, I'm having way too much fun on the mic and hanging out with Crafty and Gussie and being on the sidelines. So I just had the best time. As I said, it's the highlight of my week. I've absolutely loved being a part.
And I would add, Vaughan, you've been a great addition and asset along with Angus to the season.
Yeah, thanks, mate. So I'm just looking forward to more. How can we go boom and be back to
What are your thoughts, Alexi?
Well, while I
Win
give
sig
that,
rate?
I'll perhaps let John look at the calendar and work out when we'll be back racing
Oh,
for
I can tell you
season
that. It's the
41.
week after. It's the week after
Uh,
daylight saving.
but look, I'd actually concur when you say, yeah, big numbers every week. I think big numbers makes great racing. Look, some would like to see a scratch race every couple of weeks, but I like them how they're there for the monuments. I think it really does make them
Yeah, I
very
think
special.
that makes them special.
But we'll let that discussion continue at greater lengths for many more hours out on the bike. And that's what I love about that. There is so much passion with so many riders on a Tuesday night. I'd like to thank all the volunteers. I love all the photographers who come down. The whizzing of the drone when you're riding along is fantastic. So I really enjoy
the content this year also has gone up a notch.
Yeah.
And that's
So
been
I'd
very
like to
special
thank
as well.
all of those, all of the race volunteers as always, because I know how much work is put on pre and post race for other people. You really are being so selfless when you give up your time to volunteer at those races. And that goes to all club volunteers. You know, there was West Head was pissing down with rain on Sunday. Volunteers were out there letting that race. The Randwick guys who were there every Saturday doing the same. Sutherland, you go around, go all around Sydney. They all do a fun little job. So I'd like to say thank you to all of them. Even if they're not listening to this podcast, I do appreciate the work that they put in. They should be. To Hank Vogel's, look, I'm a size large factor. So I'm still looking every day. I look out the window, hasn't been there. I probably need some new sunglasses as well. I don't know if anyone would recommend Rudy Project
what about a
or
new
not.
Aero helmet?
But other than that, look, I just want to know, John, when will we be back?
We're going to be back the first week after daylight saving, so it's going to be around the 14th of October, 2025. Keep an eye on the Facebook page over winter. There will be posts when one of our alumni achieves something in Europe. Who knows who that might be? One day it could be you, Luca.
And with that, we will see you in season 41. Thank you all. See you next Tuesday.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Up inside.